And leadership is so broad, trying to say, am I a spiritual leader? I'm a business leader, but yet you're a leader of yourselves. And I think that's what people pick up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's the crucial piece. We try to say, team leader, company leader, family leader, but you just nailed it. It's I lead myself, and the rest flows from there. And if I lead myself in the way that resonates with my spiritual, mental, physical abilities, then it'll also stream out like that into everything that I do.
Every challenge holds a story. Every struggle is a spark. Welcome to A Legend Forged, where athletes, heroes, and fearless fighters of disability defy the odds and rewrite the rules. Learn to live an unfiltered life with the unstoppable Aron O'Dowd. A Legend Forged begins now.
O'Dowd Show. We got an amazing guest today. She's from Germany. She's featured and written and interviewed for the LA Tribune. She's taught history as a teacher. She even has different voices while you speak to her, as you'll hear. Hello, welcome to the show, Natalie Forest. How are you doing?
Well, hello. I'm doing awesome. I love the intro. Wow, the whole world. I love it. Thank you, Aron.
You're welcome. You're German, right? Tell us how the Germans interact with the world.
Well, I'm German and I'm not. So, as a German, I think we follow the stereotypes to a degree. We like at times to have a little bit of order. We like to be kind to each other if necessary. But I'm also from Hamburg, and we still, even though things have changed, we still have the stereotype that we are the arrogant Northerners, because we used to always wear all black. So you could always spot a person from Hamburg by wearing black and just moving on through. That has changed a little since I got back. So now it's much more open and a lot more people smile. So I would say that's, I think, how we interact, but we are sometimes a little sensitive. And the reason why I'm saying I'm German and I'm not is because I really see myself more as a world person, if that makes any sense.
It does. In the conversations you and I have, you're very spiritual. Is that something you grew up with, or is that something you developed later in life?
That's a great question. Thank you, Aron. I think we're all born spiritual, however we define it. And then I think for a while it gets a little bit submerged as we grow up, because there are certain rules in society. So I've always had it. I would not claim that my parents, my family tried to encourage it, but it's always been there. And then, after a while, it just needed to really come out stronger. And that's when I really reconnected with that side of me, so that now it is a huge part of my life, even though it's currently not as big as I would like it to be.
Why? You scared me out of the closet?
No, but we all have our how should I put it? We all get certain tasks sometimes, right? Wherever we get them from,
Mhm.
or we are consistently, the feeling, we're consistently being asked to do something very specific. And it's because it's one of our strengths. But just because it's one of our strengths, like for me, it's organizing, leading people, creating and helping create organizations and getting them organized. It's not necessarily something that all the time positively jives with meditation and mediumship and those things. So it's like very interesting for me to see that currently I'm still being asked to do a lot of the more logical things, at least in my working life.
I bet you're in meetings and different things, and you get this nudge of, I need to go here, I need to say this, right?
Yes, yes. You know exactly how that works. It's like you don't even know where the information comes from, but it's just like, bam, there it is. You don't know why somebody needs to have this brand. It's just like, bam, okay, thank you very much. Try this one. Does it fit? You know?
And it must be hard for an entrepreneur woman that you're do all these amazing big things. It must be like, no, not now.
Sometimes, but I think if you're truly spiritual, you understand why things are happening. You may not always know the 100% precise reason, but you do know that there is a reason. And another reason, the question of why is this happening right now is because we're human at the same time that we're spiritual. And as humans, we have our own agenda, and there's like something like, why is this happening? Versus just going with the flow and say, there's got to be a reason here somewhere.
It is that reason of why am I here? What do I need to do? What's my purpose? These are all the questions we do, but we just live such a human life as like, I have to do this.
Yes. Yeah, I think you know exactly how that works. It's like sometimes we don't know why, but it just is. Yes.
And your leadership, business, were they all integrated through life, or did you pick them up from an early age?
Well, as I tell my daughter, she is blessed or cursed with the same kind of talent. And I think, well, I know I never wanted to be a leader. Like I like my privacy. I like to be in the back of the room. But consistently, it's that we are being asked or pushed to do things. And really, the best example I think is that when I walk down the hallway or when I walk into a room, even if I'm just like a participant of something, people look at me. And I don't know why. I mean, not asking the why question, but I don't really know why, because I'm just walking in. I just want to learn something. And then people start looking at me. It's like they're looking. I think you know the feeling, because it's a feeling that you get, that they want something from you. They want you to do something now. And I told my daughter, because sometimes she's like, I just want to sit in the back of the room, but the minute I walk in, they all start looking at me. And I think it's something, I don't want to say in our DNA, but it's something in our energy, in our aura, whatever you want to call it, that when we walk into a room, that leadership association is there. And therefore it's always been there, but I've always, no, not always, for a long time, I've been trying to sidestep that until I didn't have a choice anymore. It's like, okay, I might as well do this thing.
And leadership is so broad, trying to say, I'm a spiritual leader, I'm a business leader, but yet you're a leader of yourselves. And I think that's what people pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the crucial piece. We try to say, team leader, company leader, family leader, but you just nailed it. It's, I lead myself and the rest flows from there. And if I lead myself in the way that that resonates with my spiritual, mental, physical abilities, then it'll also stream out like that into everything that I do. It's like I cannot help but say good morning when I walk into a room. Some people would already call that leadership, but it doesn't matter whether it's a classroom full of 5-year-olds, or whether it is a room filled with CEOs or some big name people. I'll still want to say good morning, and I think that's partially what's driving that idea of leadership.
Did you ever want to become a leader as a child?
No. I don't think it was ever something I wanted. It was just something that happened.
Why?
Yeah, well, that's the question, right? We don't ask the why. I mean, it's like I'm walking into a room and, people are looking at me. I'm saying something, people are looking at me. Even in situations where I was the one that would know the least, the ball always gets thrown to me in one way or another. And I think I just stopped deflecting the ball, if that is a metaphor I can use, because at some point you just got to understand this is the way it is. And there is a reason, and therefore, yeah, why hide behind it?
Did you struggle hiding behind this?
Absolutely, for a while, yes, because I think it's a balance, right? I want my privacy to be private. I want my family to be not in whatever limelight I might be in right now. And I'm not talking, I'm a celebrity or something, but there are people who recognize me. There are people who know me. And so we all have social media nowadays, but I don't really want to post my family on social media because that's my family. So I think balancing that out, yeah, it's a challenge that, especially in the world of today, where you want to be truthful, you want to be honest, but you also have to set boundaries. And a lot of people nowadays, I don't think, like boundaries. They want to know everything about you. It's like, nope, not today.
For sure. And you're highly organized in everything you do and everything I watch you in different groups we're in. But is that something you picked up from your parents?
I don't think that the idea of a complete 100% structure ever works. And so, if anything, probably my training, my in-classroom training as a teacher, has been one of the most beneficial things for my career outside the classroom, because you never know what those college students are going to throw at you. And you got to pick it up and figure out how to make whatever they're throwing at you work and seem logical.
Tell us why you wanted to become a teacher.
I don't know. I came out the womb and knew I was going to be a teacher. That's all I know. And for a long time, that's been something that that I focused on. That it was really teaching. And when I was teaching, I mean, as a historian, you teach history, but I was really teaching much more self-confidence, how to survive, values, not necessarily consciously, but it was just part of what was coming out because of the audience that I was having, because of the topics in history. It's not about dates and times, it's about people, it's about emotions, it's about actions. So we were discussing that, and I love that, especially when students look at you and like they have this aha moment, or when they look at you and say, can you repeat that? And I can't, because whatever just came through. And so that was my safe space. And I do know I was great at it. And then a friend of mine said, teaching doesn't just happen inside a classroom or inside a conference room for historians or teachers. So he sort of like gave me the push out. And then I had to regroup and understand I am still a teacher. I'm not abandoning the teaching. I'm just doing it differently, and we're calling it mentoring. But in the end, it's the same thing.
I wonder, is your sole mission to teach because you said you came out of the womb teaching? Is that your superpower?
I want to believe it is, in the broadest sense, because part of, the teaching is on that spiritual level, making more spiritual connections, teaching people about self-love, their own values, how important they are, how unique they are. And I do see a line from what I was teaching young adults and older adults in the history classroom, because of my focus there, to what I'm doing now. It is always about teaching the human in front of me, or showing the human in front of me their own value. And because I think that is something we've forgotten, and part of that is just spiritual work as well.
What does that look like when you're trying to teach a human?
I don't know. It can be really tough sometimes. Well, that's why I'm not sure that teaching is the right word, but it's really leading, guiding that human in front of me back to themselves, away from what do other people think? What does my mom want me to do? What do the friends in school? What do my friends at the choir? What do my colleagues want me to say and do? It's really refocusing, helping the individual refocus on themselves and starting to shed, either with some exercises, with conversations, sometimes with energy healing, which you also know about, obviously. Shed some of that baggage that they have and really go back to who are you at your core. And then the question you just asked me, so why are you here? And it's a really difficult question to answer for many people. And that leads them immediately back to, well, my mama says, my daddy says, all my family has been like this all my life. It's like, no. Why are you here? And then I actually do have a system on how to say, what have you taught others? What have they taught you? Are there any patterns? Because I do talk about patterns a lot. And once we recognize the pattern and recognize our own value, we are more easily, I want to claim, able to make decisions that are right for us as a human being and not for mama, papa, the dog, the husband, the wife. And when you're making decisions that are good for you, it'll automatically transfer out to others because you're just happier within yourself.
You talk about self-confidence, self-love. Is that something you struggled in your life to overcome?
Of course, yeah. At some point, I weighed too much. My hair was too wild. My hair was too crazy. I changed my hair. People still weren't happy. And I think on a constant daily basis, when things come up, I would claim it's quite human to say, whoa, am I the right person to do this? And the question then becomes, what's the next step from there? Are you going to let that question hold you back? Or are you going to say, yes, I am? And so, yes, absolutely. I've had those issues, feeling like I'm not good enough, not intelligent enough, not pretty enough, whatever. And right now, as a mom, it's like, am I really a good mom? I don't know.
When I came across you the first, you were holding an event and I see you writing and asking questions and listening, but do you see yourself as a journalist? And I presume, yes, from what I discovered and what I listened, I saw at the very beginning, but in your own opinion, do you see yourself as a journalist?
I'm actually not sure. I think most of all, because journalist is so heavily laden with ideas and stereotypes. Maybe a reporter would be better, but I think I'm just a researcher. I think that's really more of what I am, because I'm trying to bring to light with questions that I'm asking, with books or articles that I'm writing. I'm trying to bring to light new issues or a different perspective on issues. Some people call that journalism or reporting. For me, because of my background as a historian, it's research, bringing research to light.
I love that, because you're researching the person and you're having this conversation and discussion, and you go, should I deep dive, or should I just scoot across the surface, or should I just bungee jump down,
Yeah, it's sort of what you're doing as well, right? You could be just asking the same question of every one of your guests, but you're not, because you're trying to show the world who we as your guests are. And you're not just reporting, well, Dr. Natalie is this and this. No, you're giving me a way to also express that, whatever we want to term it. I mean, some of my friends say, yeah, I'm a journalist because I've written in magazines and newspapers, but I don't know. I've done shows that are more journalistic in nature, but Does that make me a journalist? I don't know. When I was younger, I wanted to be a journalist, and they didn't accept me, and that's okay because I'm much more of a researcher.
That must have been interesting to discover that I'm not a journalist, but I'm a researcher.
Actually, that just came out.
Yeah.
When you asked me the question, you brought it to light.
Wow, I didn't know my binoculars could stretch that further.
Oh, there you go. Now you see.
And it must have been cool, writing, and I don't know if you were interviewing, but for the LA Tribune, that must have been cool,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is, some of the events that we did really helped me, oh gosh, really helped me see some people in a different light, because of the way they presented themselves. And then doing a little bit more research, trying to frame it in a certain way. It was a lot of fun. It was a great learning experience. And with the LA Tribune, the wonderful thing was that I was also helping frame it and create it.
What did you learn from it?
I think I learned that people are hungry for different perspectives, and they want to engage with different perspectives.
You term yourself as a spiritual revolutionary. Why do you term yourself like that?
I didn't. It's not my fault. I can blame somebody else. No, it was actually, I never thought of myself. I'm German. You asked the question at the beginning. I'm like German. I mean, I felt like my life was pretty straightforward, even compared to my brother. It's like, no, I came out of the womb. I was going to be a teacher. I did what I did. But then there are some things in life that are not necessarily the norm. And I remember the very first time when the question was posed to me, I was doing an interview. I was being the guest, and it was way back in the U.S. very early on when I started thinking about entrepreneurship. And the interviewer asked me at the very end, "So, do you consider yourself to be a revolutionary?" And I was like, "What?" And then I want to say the magic happened, because you know how that goes sometimes. It's like a movie plays in front of your own inner eyes. It's like, what? Or you hear certain sounds like, whoa, hold on. Did I say all that? And I realized that, yes, I am a revolutionary in some ways. And yes, even though it may not seem like it to a lot of people from the outside, I break a lot of rules. But I don't necessarily do those things, fist in hand, smashing down the window. I do it because I know the rules of the game, and I start twisting and turning them a little bit differently. And so that, I think, makes me a very unpredictable person, which is interesting because a lot of people will think that they know exactly what I'm going to do. And you really can't, because I don't. So the revolutionary and the rule breaker really were brought together by the first interview, or one of the first interviews that I did, and then by a friend of mine who I work with in G100, who said, no, you got to somehow connect the two. And so now it's officially, the revolutionary rule breaker. But in the same instance, I am a spiritual transformation mentor. And it goes together because the way that we talked earlier, the way that I help and guide people is not how other people do it. It's just different. And I cannot teach to anybody how I do it, because it comes through me, so I cannot tell you, well, step 1 is this, step 2 is this. It doesn't work. And just when you think, she's going to ask that question, I'm probably going to ask a different question. Not because I'm trying to trick you, but because I have to go where the energies lead. I have to go where instinct leads me. And since every human is different, there is no one size fits all, regardless of what we're trying to tell ourselves.
What is the biggest challenge you faced in your life, Natalie?
thinking about my spiritual path, I think one of the biggest challenges was really to accept what I believe my purpose is, because to me that seems a bit big, but working through that and accepting it and not being scared every single day by it, I think is kind of important. Um, and that was a challenge. It took me a few months. You know, separation from loved ones, definitely a challenge. Right now, the biggest challenge in that sense in my life is probably, since I took my daughter back home to Germany with me, making sure that things are right for her. Um, Single motherhood, making sure she's got all the connections she needs, making sure she's got the support she needs, not being overpowering because she's a teenager, but not being unavailable. I think that is a huge challenge.
It just shows you that the biggest things we have in our life are actually the closest people. I know you're building and you're part of some big things, but what is the legacy that Natalie wants to leave behind?
I think it's kind of unfair to ask me. I think you need to ask other people. I think if people were to say that I was or I am a good person, meaning trustworthy, reliable, understanding, and loving, I think that would make me extremely happy.
What is your superpower?
I think that connecting the dots is absolutely one of my superpowers, because that's what I see having done a lot and continuing to do, and small things and big things, whether it's cooking or whether it's creating a new organization. It's usually what I do best, seeing all of the connections and putting them together.
And listening to you and being able to hear things, I hear different accents. You traveled the world. Have they embedded into your vocal cords in some way?
I don't know. It's been something, I really haven't traveled as much as I want to and as I will. It's something that has always happened. And I think it's partially why I say I'm a global human being. I remember, even when I was teaching at the college, depending on the subject matter, my accents change. And I don't know why, because I have absolutely no control over it. It's like, geez, people were asking me, are you from Russia? Oh, you're from Texas. No, you have a Spanish accent. It's like, I really don't know. I'm also not from Boston, but okay. I'm not from Ireland. It's all right. But it just switches itself. And I'm guessing that there's some kind of message that is supposed to come with that, but I have no idea what that is.
What is one piece of advice or wisdom you give to the audience tuning in and listening from your life experiences?
Trust yourself. There's no more accurate sensor or knowledge than your deep self, meaning your gut, your tummy. Nobody else. No mentor, no mother, no father, no best friend is better in knowing the truth about you than you are. So trust yourself. And that means you have to, of course, connect with yourself, but trust yourself.
Natalie, where can people tell us where people can find you?
I think the best way right now probably is social media, and probably LinkedIn or Instagram. Of course, you can also find me with anything related to 90210 Enterprise, but I think right now it's Instagram or LinkedIn. Not really fond of Facebook anymore. And I don't spend a lot of time on social media, period, because I'd rather talk directly with people.
There you go. I wish that we had the power, but we actually have the power. And remember, I want you to listen to the incredible people next time. So tune in, because I hope you can tune in on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear the superheroes of the world. Remember, rock on.